For the second week in a row, a tsunami watch for Hawaii was issued and then canceled. Today's scare came after a magnitude 7.8 earthquake struck just after noon Hawaii time off Vanuatu. That's about 1,000 miles west of Samoa, which was devastated by a tsunami last Tuesday. For the latest on this situation, here's KITV's meteorologist Justin Fujioka.
Hey Gary, good evening. A tsunami watch was issued around 1:30 when it was determined that this quake here did generate a tsunami. Waves were just a few inches around Vanuatu, but scientists were still unsure how big the tsunami would be elsewhere. Data would later confirm it did not generate a destructive Pacific-wide tsunami, and our watch was canceled around 2:15. Still, be aware of small sea level changes and strong or unusual currents beginning around 6:50 this evening and lasting several hours. We'll explain the difference between a tsunami advisory, watch, and warning coming up a little later in Island Weather.
Okay, thanks. Samoa breathing a sigh of relief tonight. KITV's Joe Kuramoto talked with a geologist at the University of Hawaii at Manoa about all this seismic activity that's going on in the Pacific. Let's go live to Jill now for the latest.
Well, Gary, there were actually 3 earthquakes in the Vanuatu Islands today, 2 being just slightly bigger than 7.0 and the largest being almost 8.0. But scientists here at the UH Manoa aren't too alarmed by all this recent seismic activity. Why? Well, because they say that it's just part of the natural movement of the Earth and one of the hazards of living within 2 tectonic plates.
The edges of the Pacific are the most active seismic zone on the planet. So both the Ring of Fire, where all the volcanoes are, and the deformation that's occurring and is being released in these earthquakes, this zone is the maximum on the planet, including then Indonesia.
Now, why do some earthquakes generate a tsunami and others don't? Well, it depends upon how strong the earthquake is, how deep it is, and how much ocean water is actually moved during the quake. Now, as we mentioned earlier, there was a small tsunami that was recorded in Vanuatu Islands, but it was only about 24 inches high. No, so while again it's not unusual to have so much of this seismic activity, it is rather unusual to have so many large earthquakes, relatively large earthquakes, so close together in time and space. But geologists will say time and again, it's not a matter of if, but when the next destructive earthquake hits. So it's much better to have many of these relatively smaller earthquakes as opposed to one large disastrous one. Reporting live from UH Manoa, Joe Kuramoto, KITV 4 Island Television News.